Welcome, everyone. I'm Paulus Perkiö, founder, CEO of Seidat, and today our topic is 5 ideas for winning sales meetings. We have had today a little bit problems with techniques, but I hope that everything goes well. Last 5 minutes ago, we changed our strategy to use a laptop camera because the camera went broken, so everything goes now well. So today on our agenda, we have 5 tips, and we start with structure of the winning sales meetings. We go then to the data part of the content, and after data, we discuss more detailed about interaction in the meetings, and then how to visualize services and products, and what is the reason for that, why should you think about that more. And then the last part is about notes. And during the meeting, we have all the time chat open, so whenever you have any questions, you can send a message in chat channel, and if there are some technical problems, we are recording the whole meeting, so we can send it later to you. So if there is something, you must go away or something, you will get the whole webinar recording later. In the early beginning, I want to also tell you about our social media channels in LinkedIn, in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Please follow those channels if you haven't done that yet, because in those channels we are all the time telling what's coming next, and we are sharing all the time nice ideas about how to develop sales and how you can use more efficiently presentations, for example. If I present myself in the early beginning, I'm Paulus, and I'm CEO in Seidat. I have founded 6 companies, and all of them are still running. I have started my sales when I was a little kid in 80s, so I have been selling quite a long time. And during my professional career, I have mostly been working with selling and doing all kind of professional services in marketing and development side. And I have found myself in salesman role many times, even my title has not been that. So selling professional services, selling softwares are I have the most of my experience, and because of that, I typically tell more about B2B sales, but I don't see the big differences. Of course, in this picture we can see that in B2B sales there is a company which is selling to another company, and there is a buyer. And what I'm trying to tell you with this image is that when we are thinking about sales, it's a process where one company connects to other company via sales and buyer interaction. So it's not only company and company who are doing collaboration, but it's seller and buyer. if you think about B2C sales, I see the situation is quite the same on sales side. On buyer side, it's very typical the buyer is also user of the product or service. So it's a little bit more simple, this image, but the result is quite a lot same. For example, on this process level, if you think about sales process, it typically have step where there is a meeting. Seller and buyer meets virtually, in phone or face-to-face. It can be organized face-to-face meeting at the office, or it can be meeting in an event, whatever. But I think when we are discussing develop those meetings, we must remember that there are many happenings even before the meeting and after those meetings. So I see that in many cases, this what happens before the meeting is at least on same level in importance than what happens in a meeting. Because if you don't do things right way before the meeting, you will not get that meeting. So all that emailing, booking by phone, emails in LinkedIn, all of that work is really important for the meetings. And of course, if you don't have good enough follow-up after the meeting, it happens that you will not get the signed agreement in the end of the process, but you will see that you will lose the deal. If you think about those meetings, it's important to remember that we have many different kind of strategies to sell. Some of us are selling, having a strategy to try to get the deal won in one meeting, and the others has several meetings. Maybe the first meeting is for understanding those needs which customer has, and the following coming meetings you go maybe a little bit deeper, and then you are telling about your solution and then giving them a proposal. Then there are many processes where we mix all of those things. We call at first by phone. Maybe during the phone call we make this short survey about customer needs remotely, and then maybe have a face-to-face meeting in the end of the process, and then comes follow-ups. But there is one common thing for those different kind of strategies. The goal of the meeting should be always to direct the sales process towards winning deal. So winning deal is always goal of the salesperson. I think it's in Finland we are playing ice hockey world games at the moment, and you always, when you are playing some games, you want to win, but also it happens in sales. If you don't win, you will not get anything. So there is only one goal: you must win the deal. And that's why I think that those meetings where we think, if you think about meetings, they are one of the most important parts of the sales, and that's why it's important to think how to make them better. That was that general part of the sales, and then we can jump to the structure of those sales meetings. if you think about a sales meeting, we are using quite a lot slide decks to support the structure of the meeting. And in this image, we can actually see the presentation which is working as a structure of the meeting. So this structure is a matrix, because in Seidat we can use matrix structures. And it goes so that the meeting starts from here and it goes from left to right. So there are the first chapter there, or stack, is about the introduction. Then need discovery, description of the problem which they are solving in the meeting. What is your solution? Why to buy from your company? References, process, what will happen after the deal is closed, and what are the next steps. So this is a typical way to run sales meetings, step by step. And as I said earlier, there are different kind of strategies, and in some strategies people think that, okay, after the need discovery you maybe give only short introduction, but then you try to organize a next meeting where you can present your solution. But there are still same kind of steps. In the early beginning, you must have some kind of introduction and some very easy discussion. Who I am, what are my responsibilities, how about you, what kind of team you have in with you, and so on. So learning to understand who we are, what kind of businesses we are doing. You must make some work before the meeting. You must understand what is the company, but you never know everything browsing the website. You can't get the idea what kind of future the company is having. So that kind of information, the only way to get that information is to discuss with people. So after introduction part, you will jump maybe to need discovery. And it's interesting that typically people are not using any kind of slides on that part. But we are using, many of our customers are today using. If I show my own sales presentation shortly, some parts of that, it's easier to explain how we are working. In the early beginning, we have introduction slides where we tell what is Seidat all about. And then, for example, these need discovery slides are like this one. So what I'm maybe asking from the customer, what kind of challenges you have at the moment with your sales materials, and then the person can see this slide at the same time on the screen, and we can start discussing. So is there any problems with sharing the content with customer after the meeting, before the meeting? How about the brand identity? Is it following your brand guidelines? Is the material which you are using, is it supporting the sales process? And so on. How about the overall challenges in sales? And how I see it's very easy to start discussing when you have supporting and some visual icons and so on. So it's easy to understand what does it mean. Okay, cross sales, we have several services and products, and there are many salespeople. They should start selling something also from from the other departments which we have, okay, this is a big problem, how could you help us to solve that? So those are those slides which you typically could use in that discovery part. They are like reminder for the buyer that, okay, this is actually the topic which we could discuss more detailed. Then comes this solution parts. What kind of solution, what kind of products, what kind of services, what kind of art we have, why should we choose our solution? Then why to work with us? What is differences with our product, our organization? What kind of experience we have, which maybe someone else maybe they don't have at all? And references. If we go back to our sales material shortly, how we present the product, we typically show some screenshots, how it works and so on. And then we maybe jump to on concept level, discuss about analytics, how it will support to get information. We are later discussing more about data, but this is one way how we describe it. And then we have many ways to explain, for example, how our solution tries to help sales and marketing people to save time when our platform is keeping everything automatically up to date. So, for example, this is a very complex thing, and when we later discuss about visualizations, this is good example. I hope that I can remember explain then more detailed about that. And then when we are presenting our solution, we jump in the end of the meeting. Typically, we discuss about pricing, what is our prices, what kind of solutions we have, for example, to support the, for example, designing new presentation content and so on. And on that part, for example, we have created this so that we have several packages, and we can ask from the customer, is your situation like this or that? Do you have enough content? You have content, but you want to update the design of those, or do you need even the totally new concept for your sales materials? And after that, we have created packages where we can say, okay, we think that, okay, you need only new design for your package sales deck. Then, okay, how many slides you have? Okay, 40 slides. Okay, the price is something like that, including this and that. Is what I think is sales material. You must have opportunity to go follow the material during the whole meeting, step by step. And when you follow the material step by step from left to right, you are all the time doing right things. I have, for example, seen several times in social media discussions that why salespeople are presenting. But when I see those discussions, I understand quite soon that they have maybe company presentations which they are presenting. And typically in all kind of meetings where I see people, I say them that stop all kind of company presentation things, because company presentation is not something what you should use when you are selling something. Okay, this is shortly the structure how I see what kind of steps there should be in a meeting to close a to make a winning sales flow. And after the meeting, those how you share the content is really important. So if you have a good meeting, you must have good opportunities to share same kind of content what you have been presenting. And it's really important to make it as easy as possible to send as much as needed the content. And when we think about this process, from the first meeting, there can be several meetings, and what I have seen is that it's very typical that in those meetings there are different people. Maybe you first meet some kind of director or manager, and then he's asking more people to the next meetings. And for example, when we jump to the proposal stage where you are presenting the proposal, how we do it, we typically create easy part of the proposal. So there is some memo of the needs, what customer has. Then we tell about pricing, our product, some information about the product and service process, how everything will go, and then terms. And then we have some extra attachment part where we are having some slides about tools, our Seidat platform, our company, our solution, our references. And I think it's very important that they are part of the proposal presentation, because it typically goes so that there are new people in a meeting, they have never heard about our solution, and what happens? It means that I should start from the end. I shortly present what is our platform, what is our company, what kind of references we have, and after giving them some understanding what kind of solution we have, it's better to jump here to go through those needs which we have been discussing earlier with other people, and then presenting our final proposal. And I think this is very important that we remember that there are different kind of meetings. In those meetings, there are different kind of people, and because there is typically all the time in every meeting someone who is new in a meeting, we should remember to start from the early beginnings. But of course, it must be done very quickly, because the others don't want to wait and hear those same jokes every time. But hey, whenever you have a questions, please use the chat. It's more interesting to answer your questions than only tell what I have been thinking about this topic. Okay, this was about the structure of those, how I see what is the winning structure in the meetings. Then we had that data part. If you think about data, what kind of data we could use before the meeting, what kind of data there is after the meeting, which you should be interested about. There are data which you can use internally in your own team, what your salespeople is doing. There are data which your sales team could use to get understanding what your customers are interested about. And there is a data which you can use from development point of view. And if we think about discuss about the data is from how presentations are used. I saw this process picture in the early beginning of this webinar, and there is the first meeting. How we work, for example, we typically send some introduction content before the meeting. What does that mean? When I share that content, I'm interested before the meeting how our customers, what they have seen, how much they have spent time in a presentation, how on which slides, which are the contents which you think are the most important ones. And in Seidat, for example, you can connect all those data tools which typically companies are using in marketing, Google Analytics, Leadfeeder, HubSpot, Albacross, and so on, to get information how your customers are browsing your presentations, which you have been sharing for them. And for example, Leadfeeder is really good example, because in Leadfeeder, for example, you see if it's connected right way, you can see in same feed all visits which your customer has done on your website and on your presentation which you have been sharing for them. And I think the information which you can get, for example, from Leadfeeder is very, very, very useful before the meeting to get understanding. Okay, they are interested about our product X, so I need to concentrate in a meeting to tell more on those slides where we tell about that. They have spent twice or three times more time than on the other slides. In Seidat, you can also get information whenever you share the content, you get information if the customer has opened the presentation, and you can also get some kind of notifications when they are opening those presentations. This is an introduction video, for example, in LinkedIn, when you share the content in LinkedIn, and then you will get the email notification that now the person, your customer, has opened that. That's information which is really relevant after the meeting. Whenever, for example, I have been tomorrow morning, I have a meeting where I try to close a deal. And today, for example, just after 12, I saw that, okay, again, the customer is browsing the proposal presentation, which I have been sharing for them 1 week ago. And during this time, I have seen a couple of times that they have been browsing the content. And I see exactly how many times they have been browsing that. And for me, it's very, very important information, because tomorrow I really know that they have been trying at least to understand my proposal fully. They have shared it in their company, and they have been discussing. So tomorrow I believe that they have prepared themselves as well as they can. So I'm really waiting that final discussion, should we start collaboration or not. But without that information, I'm like a blind. I need to go to the meeting without understanding if they have discussed at all of the topic. But now I know they have discussed so much that they should be ready for final decision. Dennis is asking, is it possible to check which slides of the presentation the customer checked? Yes, it is. It is not yet possible using our own analytics tools inside the Seidat, but if you connect this lead feeder or Google Analytics or HubSpot, on those tools you can see exactly on which slide person had visited and long time they have spent on that slide. Then we must also all the time remember that that kind of information, there is a little bit opportunities for failures, because typically those analytics tools like Google Analytics, they are some way browser based. So the information, if you have, for example, ad blockers on and very modern browsers, they are typically blocking some of the information which you are browsing. And if they are blocking the information which your customer is browsing on your presentations, you will not get the exactly right information. And but for example, that information which we share about openings, it's 100% right, because it's from our server side. So when people are opening, there is no ad blockers which can block the information if they are connecting to our server or not. Yes. So data before the meeting is very important, so that you can get information which your customer is maybe interested about, and data after the meeting with notifications if your customer has opened your memos, opened your proposals. I think those are the main things in which are very useful for every salesperson. But if you think about on team level, which slides your company, on which presentations your team is using, which slides typically customers are browsing when you share the content for them, then you have opportunities to develop your content and get after that better sales results, of course. Then if we jump to next topic, and interaction in a meeting. Typically this is a little bit better slide, this enabling winning sales flows. Enabling winning sales flows is our mission. And if you think about this sales flow, we divide it to the three parts. How we support the whole sales process, how we can support the meeting and this interaction part, and how we can support the collaboration team level flow, so that the collaboration between, for example, sales and marketing is on flow level. But if we now concentrate to the central part, this meeting and interaction part, we typically draw the situation this way. If you think about ways how to impact to your sales results, we have here back office side, we have here front line side. Front line where you interact with your customers. And if you think about how to get better sales results, how we see, you must develop this frontline side of the sales. If you are concentrating to develop this back office side, you are quite far away from your customers. Of course, this must be done on well enough level, but real results, real better development steps you can take here in frontline. And it is the place where we want to be as a sales tool. And if you think about those situations where you are interacting with your customers, we call them moments of truth, because those situations when you interact in a meeting or you share your content to your customers, those are the ways where how you could impact to your customers' mindset. And we feel it so that the presentation is very important part of that interaction. Because if you have a good presentation, it will help you to get the wow feeling. Okay, they have really nice products and services. The presentation was really cool and so on. So it helps you to make that wow effect, especially today when we are typically selling remotely. You can't go to the meeting with a new casual suit and well-designed shirts and everything, very very nice things, but it's not working that way anymore. And if you think about not only the wow effect, but for example that structure, what I said, the structure is very important how the presentation could support the presenter. But then comes the most important part, how to make that kind of presentations which allows interaction. This interaction is the reason why people are not typically using presentations in a meeting. And that's why we have developed that matrix structure. And this matrix structure together with presenter view gives you real nice possibilities to interact in a meeting. So, for example, I'm at the moment using this kind of presenter view for this webinar content. And I'm clicking the slides in that order which I really want to use it today. It's typically a little bit different way how I did it yesterday, for example. And sales, this goes so that in every sales meeting, for example, I'm doing things a little bit differently. It depends on to who I'm meeting and to who I'm speaking and presenting our solution and how they have told what kind of needs they have. And whenever they have something special, I need to jump to those parts of my presentation which support me to tell them, okay, we have this and that kind of ways to solve your problems. And that's why this matrix structure, so that you can see the whole presentation in very small screen and click those slides in that order which you want, how your customer is behaving, gives you good opportunity to interact with your customer. You can then start listening in reality. Because what I have heard, people think that when they have those linear presentations, they think that, okay, I need to start here and go step by step through this presentation, and it's not interacting. But whenever we have this kind of opportunity to use huge presentation, what I saw, I showed my sales deck and it has about 150 slides. I will never show all of them to my customers. I'm using typically from 10 to 12 of those slides. And but they are typically there is this introduction part. It's something what I'm doing typically same way every time. But after that, it depends on, do I have 30 minutes meeting, 1 hour meeting, or what kind of meeting? And what kind of problems the customer has, how they react to my explanations, how they react to those proposals which I have done during the meeting. And that's why I think this interaction, asking questions, answering them, using slides all the time is really, really important. And it's also important to think about that from that whenever you have, for example, you are telling to your, if I go back to that our own sales deck, and I showed here this concept slide, how we keep all presentations all the time up to date. Of course, I don't need to have this kind of slide to explain how everything works, but whenever I have ready-made slide and I explain how our platform is working, I think it's better way to build trust. So it's not how I only say it works, but it's something how our organization has visualized the whole thing. There are things how we keep the brand element time up to date, images, smart slides. Then there is iframes, so content from other platforms which integrates to those presentations. Everything is all the time up to date. This is very easy way to visualize it. And when I explain it with visualized slide, it's not only something what I say, how I hope it would work, but it's something how it really works. And that's why I think that that is using slides all the time in a meeting is very important. It's not only to make me remember what I should tell to customer, but it's at the same time building trust. What kind of solutions we have. From interaction, it's easy to jump with that one visualized slide to other ways of visualizing solutions and services and all kind of that things. Because in Seidat you can use very versatile content. You can include calculators, for example, to your presentations, which is easy way to visualize, for example, return of investment. Ask your customer, for example, how many salespeople they have, and then you can explain, okay, the return of the investment is pessimistically 700,000 euros or 10 million euros if you think about optimistically, and then you can adjust it as you need. Of course, videos are very interesting and important part today, how you can explain everything. But if you are selling some three-dimensional things, houses, cars, whatever, it's interesting to have an opportunity to have three-dimensional elements or this kind of panorama views. Why not to embed, for example, chatbots to content which you are sharing. Oh, sorry, this is in Finnish, but you get the idea. Embed a bot inside your proposal presentation where your customer can schedule a next meeting or whatever. Using interactive charts, for example, is interesting to get a little bit more information. This is something about selling electricity, gigawatt hours, and so on. But whenever you can include more information, the view can be very minimalistic, but then you get more information from selecting things in a presentation. It's something which is a really nice way to visualize many kind of solutions. And why should we use visualizations is that it's also same question is many times asked me, why should we use slides? And the reason is that if you are using only speech, you tell with your mouth and with your voice something. Only 10 your customers are by the research is understanding maybe about 10%. It's double if you are using text together with your speech. And if you can visualize your idea, the understanding raise up to 80%. There are many kind of researches. This is one result, but the common thing for all of those researches is that the more you can visualize the content, the easier it is to understand, and the easier it is to understand what you are buying, the easier it is to make decisions. And that's why I think visualizations are really, really important part of the sales content. Fifth tip of how to make winning sales meetings are notes. We have made a little bit research about that topic, and based on that research, people are typically doing their notes on paper. What happens when you are doing the notes on paper, not in your CRM? Only 11% are writing or creating those notes straight to CRM tools. The result is that if we ask, do you all your sales meeting notes to CRM? Only less than half of the people are doing that. So only half of the sales people are moving or writing or filling their CRM tools to update the information there. The result is that organizations don't have uniform way of making notes. They don't have uniform way of communicating between salespeople inside their team. And the result is that notes are not clear enough so that if I stop selling, I jump to other company working there, and Evert, who is helping me in this webinar, will continue my sales work. In 75% of the companies, they say that no one can continue sales based on those notes. So it means that notes are not good enough. And I think it's a big problem. And that's why we have created for this presenter view meeting notes part. So you can, whenever I'm, for example, presenting this presentation, we can go there and see maybe I'm not in right mode at the moment, but you will get those meeting notes all the time to this this field. You will get the information which slides you have been presenting, and then you can write those notes immediately there. So like I can show in live here. So when I'm presenting, it puts the information which slides I have used, and then I write notes. And then I can copy the whole meeting note and send it directly to CRM. And if you are using Pipedrive, we have concept where we integrate Pipedrive to our tool, and then you have automatically moved the whole CRM. I think it's very big magic thing. Update your meeting notes automatically. Any more questions? I'm all the time trying to ask you to make more questions. Yes. How to make winning sales meetings? I recommend really this kind of sales design thinking, way of thinking and way of developing your sales processes, sales meetings. How I see, my background is in design. I'm industrial designer. When I was doing that kind of work, we were all the time trying to develop products to our customers which are distinctive, which has uniform quality, which are reproducible in factories, and they should be cost effective to get good financial results. And if you think about sales, we can think all those same topics. You can make your sales process distinctive. You can make your sales meetings distinctive. You can get uniform quality. So whenever you are saying to company A or B, if Evert is doing it or I'm doing it, the quality should be on same level. It must be reproducible so that when I start selling to you and then to someone else, I should have kind of processes, same kind of content, and then when I have that opportunity, it's reproducible. And when all these things happens, you will get winning results, and it's very cost effective. And if you think how you could do that, of course, one of my solutions is please start using Seidat if you haven't done that yet, because in Seidat you can develop your sales materials during the whole life cycle of that. So you can create those materials, share, present, develop, analyze the whole thing, what happens for your sales content during their life cycle. You can manage in Seidat. It's one place, one cloud where you have all your content, which you with any device, in face-to-face situation, in online meetings only with your mobile phone, for example. You don't need to use this kind of Google Meets or Teams or Zooms. Only phone is enough. And what is really nice is that you can integrate it with your sales ecosystem, so that you can integrate it to your social media channels, so that whenever your customers are opening the presentations, then you can direct some remarketing to your customers. Whenever they are opening, you can get that information also in marketing dashboards, in marketing analytics tools. And then you have good opportunity to automate the content creation, for example, when you are creating proposals, so that you can get that information from your CRM tool and then move it to proposal presentations, and then you can get that opening informations and that kind of things also directly back to your CRM tools. So this kind of integrations, being part of the whole sales ecosystem, I feel that it's really important. And if you want to discuss with us, continue discussing with us about the topic, please go to our website, and there you can find our calendar, so you can book immediately meetings. Or whenever we are sharing content, typically we are embedding our calendars, and it's easy way to book a meeting. If you haven't done that yet, please follow us in social media channels, and next webinars you also from our Sales Academy, as you have subscribed to this webinar. But you can find here also all our old webinars, and you can download the recording from the website. And this is also really nice ways to use Seidat. Use it as a browser, browsing our website. I don't need to make special slides for every kind of needs. I can use our websites. I really want to thank you. It has been really nice to be here with you and discuss about these 5 ideas for winning sales meeting, about the presentation structure, how to utilize data before and after meetings, how to develop content which allows you to interact with your customers, how to visualize your products and services, and how to use notes so that you have a better way to develop good sales concept, which gives you better opportunity to get better results and better opportunity to scale your sales, so that you will reach your dreams. I really must say thank you. I hope that you got some ideas how to develop your sales, and you will close a better and bigger deals during this year. Good luck for that work, and see you. And if you want, we can whenever meeting and discuss more detailed with you. Thank you, and bye.